Immerse in the profound wisdom of the Shandilya Bhakti Sutras, ancient verses, revered as a pinnacle of devotion and spiritual awareness. Under the guidance of His Holiness Swami Jyotirmayananda, plunge into the infinite ocean of this revered scripture. Discover its hidden truths. Embrace its transformative power. Awaken to new realms of divine love and spiritual awareness. The depths are calling. The deeper you dive, the more treasures you'll discover. And now, Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Vasudevasutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. And blessed self in each of you. Adorations. Shandilya Bhakti Sutras. Presently, Sutra number 18. The topic here is that bhakti is easiest in the beginning and sweetest in the end. All other yogas are supplementary. Bhakti goes like a big queen. All other yogas are maid servants. Even mukti is the dasi of bhakti. Mukti is liberation. But liberation just follows the trail of bhakti. It's easiest because taste of love is there deep rooted in every heart. For everything else you need to be educated. How to handle your money, how to look after your responsibilities, how to think better, how to allow your intellect to advance. All that requires effort. But to begin with, spontaneity of experience of mysterious love. And you see it even in the birds and animals all over. Who teaches the mother bear to take care of the baby bear? And with all grace and excellence, the mother takes care of their children. So therefore, if you allow your mind to continue to move towards God, enjoying sweetness of divine surrender, as if a stream is flowing towards the ocean, enjoying your stream of your personality to flow on to God. If it is highlighted in your mind, love of God, and you understand in a profound way what we mean by God, then you are never deprived of God. You are constantly sustained by God's presence. And day by day, you may experience increasing attachment to God, increasing joy of being in touch with God, increasing peace. And if that is what goes on deep within, day-to-day life will become much more qualitative. You will express in your daily life goodness of your heart, fragrance of divine virtues. A bhakta, a devotee, does not face bitter adversities. Even if there is adversity, it's sweet. Ask a mother who is expecting a child. This point is being highlighted that bhakti excels all other yogas. Lord Krishna mentions that there are 4 types of devotees. Artha. Artha means when you are in distress. Artharthi, when you need a lot of money or material help. Jignasu, when you want to know secrets of spiritual dimension of your existence. And Jnani, in whom all these 3 have become perfected. Jnani, who has the awareness of God. These 4 devotees, they are studied in 2 ways. For masses, Artha means you turn to God only when you are in distress. Distressing situation has been crossed over, and now you no longer turn to God. God has become a means to an end. And Artharthi, you turn to God only when the business is in difficulty. And when you have crossed over it, you tell God, stay quiet. Jignasu, your intellect is tangled and you want to understand. And the moment the tangling state is removed, you are also again move away from devotion. But that's true at an ordinary level. The Gita is a profound scripture. In reality, what it means, that you should promote a heart that melts for God. That's called Artha. That's the central theme of Bhakti Yoga, path of devotion. And that's possible if your emotions are not restricted or muddled by vikaras, impurities of the mind, anger, greed, hate. These overpower your emotions in such a way that profound, subtle sentiments remain dormant. Atma gunas, the great virtues of the soul, compassion, utter humility, joyousness, serenity, good-heartedness. These things are all innate. And if you adopt the path of Bhakti Yoga, you develop purity of feeling. And that will not lead you or allow you to be separated from God even for a moment. Your very heart melts when you think of God, repeat the divine mantra. So Artha level is very advanced. Artharthi level means you are converting your action into karma yoga. Actions, karmas, present to you different situations and circumstances. In this practical world, it is karma that can repair your house, that can settle certain various problems you face day by day. You deal with society, deal with political situations, you deal with so many things. And it is karma, action, that enables you to face all these challenges. So that path is known as karma yoga. And it goes on bestowing upon you materials or instruments that are needed for your evolution. If you are a farmer, you need implements. You need all the things needed to plow the field, to sow seeds and all that. In the same way, everyone needs resources. Resources can be internal, your understanding, your insight, your skill, along with external favorable situations. And God promotes all. And jigyasu means you are able to discipline your intellect, lead your intellect to clear reasoning for understanding the profound secrets of life. That makes you an aspirant of Jnana Yoga, path of wisdom. These three, in a broad sense, they, figuratively speaking, relate to. Artha relates to your heart, this deep-rooted movement. Artharthi relates to your hand. And Jigyasu relates to your head. There is a fourth one, meditation, that is always implied. To make it convenient, consider it belongs to your throat. So your whole personality is involved in integral yoga. And you are practicing all this. But for Shandilya said that's not enough. Your goal is to attain increasing love of God, become increasingly attached to God, become immersed in God. If profound devotion does not blossom, then there something is lacking. Of course, if you are truly, as I described, the Artha state, where heart has become highly purified, if that has gone to a greater level, then you attain perfection in bhakti automatically. The simple point is that you may be practicing devotion in a secondary level. You may be practicing karma yoga, thinking that only by action you can attain whatever to be attained, nothing else matters. Or you can be practicing only meditation. That will lead me to the highest. But a healthy movement is first to recognize that all the four aspects of your personality are interrelated. Emotion, that relates to your heart. Action relates to your hands. Will, that relates to meditative process. Concentration of mind. And reason relates to Jnana Yoga, the path of wisdom. If you are advancing in any of the four yogas, say you became a better karma yogi, better performer of action, automatically your feeling within you will become much more cultured, much more sublime. You will enjoy doing good to others. You will not be writing it down in your diary how much you have done and how much can it bring to you during Christmas times. So no matter which yoga you pursue, the other three join in automatically. You are allowing your feeling to be sublime. Your action will be better. Your thinking will be much clearer. Your concentration of mind will be profounder. So there is always an integral movement, and you can't exist in one-sided type of movement. In 19th Sutra, Yogastu Ubhayartham Apekshanat Prayajavat. Yoga is for the benefit of bhakti as well as jnana. Just as the Prayaja Yajna is an essential portion of Vajapaya Yajna and Dikshaniya Yajna. All these details you don't have to worry about. An ancient ritual known as Prayaja Yajna, that was an essential part of two yajnas, two types of rituals. In the same way, yoga, by yoga we imply control of mind, meditation, the whole 8 limbs of yoga. Yoga is helpful for bhakti as well as jnana. You follow path of devotion and you learn the art of meditation, art of controlling the mind and all the details of Raja Yoga. This will be helpful. Similarly, you are following the path of jnana, wisdom, and you practice yoga. So yoga becomes helpful for bhakti as well as jnana. The idea then, why not stay with yoga and leave out anything else? That idea should not enter, because Without integral development, you will not have fulfillment of the process of bhakti devotion. Devotion will not blossom to the utmost. Gaunya tu samadhi siddhi. People quote Raj Yoga. Raj Yoga says, Samadhi siddhi Ishwar pranidhana. By surrendering to God, you succeed in samadhi. In Raj Yoga, it seems samadhi becomes more important, and surrendering to God becomes a means. But we must realize surrendering to God that is used in Raj Yoga is not the bhakti of Shandilya. And it is not, doesn't relate to absolute surrender. It's just like a person says, now I'm going to surrender to God. I've taken refuge in God. To the extent you take refuge in God, to that extent your mind is now ready to follow a discipline. Mind becomes free from various distractions. Japa, Ishwar Pranidhan, all these are part of yogic practice. Repeating mantras and surrendering to God. But you must realize that there is a difference between perfection in surrender and the initial state of feeling I'm surrendering to God. To give a clear understanding of the difference, think of the difference between the first stage of the Gita, where Arjuna says, "Oh Krishna, I am confused and all this battle has come to me. I just surrender to you. But don't ask me to fight." So remember that state of surrender. And in the end he says, I have absolutely surrendered to you, O Krishna. Use me as an instrument. When you come to that absolute surrender, then that's a bhakti. The secondary type of surrender that Raj Yoga is pointing to doesn't mean that bhakti has become subservient to the practice of yoga. Bhakti always remains the supermost. Heya ragatvat iti chet no maspadatvat sangavat. If it is said that devotion is to be given up because it is of the nature of raga, attachment, we say no. For it leads to the highest goal, as in the case of satsanga. Always arguments are presented so that you have a clear understanding. On the path of devotion, on the path of any spiritual advancement, attachment is targeted. You shouldn't get attached to objects of the world. Dhyayato vishayan punsa sangasteshu upajayate. If you go on thinking of objects, you become attached to objects. A mental dependence develops. If you have developed attachment, sangat sanjayate kama. Desire develops. Kamat krodho vijayate. If your mind is dominated by desire, you have two possibilities: fulfillment of desire or anything that will obstruct the fulfillment. 99% there is obstructions. Then what happens? Mind gets agitated. Kamat krodho bhijayate. But you say at least there is some percentage when they are not obstructed, your desires are fulfilled. In the terms of the Gita or scriptures, that's another variation of mental agitation. You become elated. Try to study people who become suddenly very fortunate, a success in their business, success in examination. And what do you find they are? They become elated, they don't know what to do. First thing they do is to call so many people, keep the whole night noisy, because something good has happened. In scriptural terms, it comes in the category of krodha, agitation. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. If your mind is agitated, you are not using your head, you are not using your reason. If your car goes down the slope, it's like elation. You don't have to do anything, it's simply going down. If your car has to go up, you have to make effort. But your journey is not concluded either in going down or going up. Your goal is to go where you have to go. Beyond these ups and downs, your mind faces both situations. Situation where things begin to develop, agreeable situation. You begin to float and become elated. Or disagreeable situations. Then the mind becomes full of stress, bitterness, anger, hate begin to dominate your mind. As a result, sammoha, your intellect is not working. All your choices are backed up by delusion. Sammohat smriti vransha. If you have some moha, delusion, you begin to forget the dignified aspect of your personality. If you become angry, you forget how wonderful you look when you are happy. And speaking in a broader way, the simple insight that you are a soul, and the soul is a ray of God. And therefore, you are not dependent upon how things happen, but you are constantly being led by God's plan. That simple point that would make you stay very relaxed, enriched day by day, that is forgotten. And in another way, Ishwar Chintan is forgotten. Ishwar Chintan is allowing your mind to enjoy doing japa. If you have proper understanding and spiritual sensitivity, and just like a miser who goes after counting his money, you count your beads. For the miser, his money is not yet really secure. But for you, you are dealing with divine bank. Nit nit hot savayo, Mira says. The merit that you generate by doing japa, repetition of mantra, turning to God, prayer, invoking God, whatever way you turn to God, the merit that you generate, it goes on increasing day by day with compound interest. So that's what we mean by smritis. Remembrance. Your day is so wonderful from morning till night. But how much of the day, how many hours, what part of the day did you really utilize? Implying, really allowed your mind to come closer to God. You may say, so many things in the world. How can there be no time to come closer to God? And ask a child, how many times does the child remember mother? You find child is not so easy to talk to the mother. During the day, how long can you think of your child? The question doesn't arise. It is constant, spontaneous. That type of relationship you have to develop with God within you. And it's not difficult. That's the meaning of constant remembrance of God. And you go on urging the mind to develop that type of sentiment, divine sentiment. And if you don't catch up to that level, you feel a sense of missing. There is an episode with Mahatma Gandhi. One day, due to some physical reasons, he missed his prayer. So with the people around him, he expressed a sense of loss. And people didn't know how to console him. But one person was clever enough, he gave a story to Mahatma Gandhi. He said that there was a saint, Mahatma Gandhi, once upon a time. He too had similar experience. One day he missed his prayer, and because he was sleeping late, you see. And then what happened, he saw someone shaking his bed. He opened his eyes. Whom does he see? Can you imagine? Devil. Two hordes of it. And he was shocked. Tried to understand what's the matter. Why is he waking me up? He looked up to the devil, and the devil said, "Don't you know it's the prayer time?" The saint asked, aren't you the one who discourages people from praying to God? How is it you are reminding of my prayer time? And the devil said, if you miss your prayer time and you feel a sense of deep regret within your heart, you earn more love of God. I don't like that. Try to understand the beauty of it. Your mind, your heart should miss not having utilized your time in japa, thinking of God, talking about God. Because therein lies the best of your life, when your mind becomes involved in a positive way. Otherwise, your mind has so much work to do. And that work will not be over, even if you are given millions of years before you. Until you start teaching the mind that in spite of the works you have to do, love of God, it doesn't contradict. Ocean doesn't contradict its waves. So if you have love of God, that love goes on welling up. And it allows you to perform your duties with greater dexterity, in a more qualitative way. And nothing is amiss. You are more fulfilled as your mind turns to God. And as long as you think, turning to God requires separating yourself from the day-to-day activity. As long as your mind feels a kind of contradiction, I have no time, how can you? It is love of God that resolves that contradiction. In the beginning, of course, you have to work out with sustained sadhana, but that the goal must be remembered. Next point, Sangha. The raga that is being promoted in bhakti is of a different type. The statement, all attachments must be given up. In order to be practical, satsanga should not be given up. Must turn to satsanga. So, sangha implies just getting associated with all types of people and allowing your mind to be again and again filled with a lot of gossips, a lot of angry things. Instead, allow your mind to be filled with sattvic, positive thinking, positive association, positive impact. Satsangatve nihasangatvam. The argument that any type of sangha or dependence, any type of association is contrary to Godward movement, that argument is entirely wrong. Unless you lean towards satsanga, Godward movement will not be possible. So the statement is satsangatve nihasangatvam. If you are allowing your mind to come into positive association again and again, it will give you the art of being detached. Just like lotus grows in the midst of water and all the impurities of it. Once it has blossomed, it has attained a kind of detachment. Similarly, your soul has that possibility. If you smear oil in your hand and then cut platanos and things that have a lot of glue in them, you can cut them, eat them, and your hands remain unaffected. Similarly, your mind has to be massaged with the oil of devotion. Once the mind has been well oiled with devotion, you can handle all things of the world, bitter and sweet, gluey and ungluey. It remains. That's what we mean by nihasangatvam. Nihasangatve nirmohatvam. To the extent your mind attains that type of detached state, you don't have the blurring vision within you. You don't have delusion of mind called moha. Moha is just like things have become smoky before your eyes. For most people, moha becomes confused. The idea of choosing love and moha, that's mind is confused about it. What is moha? What is love? Just like where is fire, where is smoke? Both have become mixed together. In all human relations, that's the big problem. Moha and love, they blend. And success in relation lies in turning to have more of love, less of the smoke. Little smoke is good. Smoke that you can handle. Smoke that will not choke the fire. Nirmohatve nishchal tattvam. Once you have enjoyed allowing the mind to be free of moha, you must realize what a burden has been moved away from your mind. All the time you had a big headache. Because it's the moha aspect that keeps your mind agonized constantly. What was in the past? What will be in future? Who will be where? But as moha moves away, you realize God has been handling, even if you didn't know it. Even when you were sleeping and didn't know anything. God went after every part of your body, even your toes, your nose, and everything. Very tenderly, without waking you up, did so many works. As that faith in God and trust in God develops in you, then yoga kshemam vahamyaham. All things are being done by God. You do the best. That's your duty. Do the best. Don't limit your performance because of your worries and anxieties. Now, when you start using your ego with it, you never do the best. Do it with joy, because God is sustaining it. God is doing it. Therefore, nishchal tattvam. No matter how things happen, comes a lot of rain. Don't say, everyone is going to catch cold. It's coming, pneumonia is coming up. Rather, understand grace of God. Countless trees and vegetation, there's a lot of joy. It's wonderful. It doesn't rain at all, that also is wonderful. A lot of solar energy is being used up, soaked up. Of dramatizing all this. But the basic point is, as love of God develops in your heart, you don't live by happenings. No matter whichever way things happen, your mind remains relaxed. No matter whichever way the clouds move in the sky, the moon is always relaxed. And the moment the moon emerges out of a dark cloud, shines brighter. So that brightness of emergence is secured if you have followed the path of bhakti. You're going to emerge brighter than before. Therefore, don't talk about the idea of that since bhakti says that you should be attached to God. The term attachment, also bhakti promotes satsanga. That type of attachment is not like ordinary attachment. It is attachment that is leading you to God realization. So your argument is refuted. And with this we conclude. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of spiritual growth. It's an honor to learn from the wisdom of Swami Jyotirmayananda. As we part for now, remember, the quest does not end. Take time to reflect on today's insights and integrate them into your life. Until next time, stay open, stay curious, stay present. The light within you is always shining.